Welcome to Engage in New York, Module 4, Lesson 25. This is your concept development. And our learning objective for this lesson is I can divide a whole number by a unit fraction. Now, up until now, we've been multiplying fractions and decimals. So that's what we've been working on. And we started way back when multiplying a whole number by a unit fraction. So now we're going to divide a whole number by a unit fraction. And what do we remember about a unit fraction? 1 over n, and n can represent any number, right? 1/3, 1/2, 1/4 are all unit fractions. What are some other things that we should remember before we start off here? Now, when we're dividing a whole number by a unit fraction, we're dividing things up a whole into smaller pieces, right? So we're trying to figure out how many are inside, like 1/4. How many fourths does it take to make one whole? What's 4/4, right? It makes one whole. So just remembering all of those things is going to help you through this lesson. Now we're going to be drawing some pictures or some models in order to represent our thinking. Let's go ahead and start. Jenny buys 2 pounds of pecans. If she puts 2 pounds in each bag, how many bags can she make? So if she buys a bag of pecans, and it's a 2-pound bag, and she wants to put it in a container or another bag that equals 2 pounds, how many bags can she fill? Well, she can only fill one bag, right? She has 2 pounds and wants to put it in another container, another bag or a container that is equal to 2 pounds. How many will she get? She'll only get one, right? Now, if she puts 1 pound in each bag, so here's that 2-pound bag of pecans. And now she wants to divide it up into 1-pound bags. How many bags will she make? Well, she'll put 1 pound in here, and she would put 1 pound in here, right? How many bags will she make? She'll make 2 bags, correct? Correct. Now, if she put a 1/2 pound in each bag, so let me back up for really quick. And let's say this is 2 pounds divide 2 pounds. We're going to divide, it equals 1 pound. 2 divided by 2 is 1, right? And then now I have 2 divided by 1 is going to be 2. So now she has a 2-pound bag, and we're going to divide that into 1/2 pound bags, into 1/2 pounds. All right, so let's just quickly draw a picture of this. So here is that 2-pound bag of pecans. And now we're going to make 1/2 pounds. Well, how many halves does it take to make one? Well, if this is a 1/2 plus another 1/2, that is equal to what? 1 pound, right? So now if I do another 1/2 pound plus another half pound, that equals 1 pound, right? So how many half-pound bags will she make if she has 2 pounds and she wants to put them into half-pound bags? How many bags will she have? She'll end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 4 bags. This is the same as 2. Watch what I'm going to do right here. I'm going to say 2 divide a half, right? Now I'm going to go 2 times 2 equals 4. So it's really, it takes 2, right? It takes 2 to make 1. And now I'm going to multiply 2 times 2, and that equals 4. So, in a nutshell, how you divide fractions, a whole number by a fraction. Number one, most important thing, is your whole number remains a whole number. When you divide, it's always the second fraction. It's always the second fraction. What did I just say? It's always the second fraction. Watch what happens. You're going to flip the sign. When you flip the sign to the inverse operation, you also flip the fraction, because this really becomes what? 2 over 1. And you end up with 4. It always works that way. So this right here is this is a nutshell here. All right, let's go back here. If she still has 2 pounds of pecans and she wants to now break them up into 1/3 pounds in each bag, what does that look like? Well, here's that 2-pound bag of pecans. And now we're going to break them into thirds. Well, how many thirds make up one whole? Well, 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 equals 1 whole, right? So this is equal to 1 pound, right? But we need 2 pounds. So it's really 3 times 2 pounds. So it would take altogether another third plus another third plus another third. So it would be another pound. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bags. Now watch me do it using the mathematical equation. So 2 divide 1/3 becomes 2 times 3 equals 6 bags. 3 times 2 gives me 6 bags. So, like I said earlier, the second fraction, you flip the sign to its inverse operation, and the inverse operation of division is multiplication, and then you multiply. So 1/3 becomes 3. 2 times 3. Here's 2 pounds times 3 thirds gives you 6 bags. All right, let's try fourths. Here is, I'll write it here, 2 divide into 1/4. So if she still has 2 pounds, here, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that here. So she still has a 2-pound bag of pecans. And now We want to know how many bags she can make if she's putting them into fourths. Well, how many fourths are in one whole? 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, right? How many fourths does it take to make one whole? 4, right? So now I have to make 4 more because this only is giving me 1 pound. One-fourth, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. So how many bags can you make that are filled with 1/4 of a pound? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 bags, right? But this is the same as 1, 2, 3, 4 times 2. Watch me how this works over here. So 2, an inverse operation, times 4 equals 8 bags. It takes 4 1/4 just to make 1. Then I double it, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Or simply 2, you use the inverse operation, flip the sign, and then multiply it by the reciprocal. This is called the reciprocal. This right here, multiplying by the reciprocal. Okay, now we're going to keep going. Now, Jenny continues to have those 2 pounds of pecans. So, if this is half the number she needs to make pecan pies, how many pounds will she need? Well, 2 divided in halves, if 2 pounds is only half the amount she needs, how many does she need? 4 pounds, right? All right. Take a look at that for a second. It's the same thing, but this time we know that if 2 is half, then what is the whole? Well, it would be 4. All right, let's keep going. So if 2 is 1/3 the number she needs to make pecan pies, how many pounds of pecans will she need? Well, 2 divide into thirds. 2 times 3 equals 6 pounds. Then, if this is 1/4 the number she needs to make pecan pies, 2 divided by fourths. 2 times 4 equals 8 pounds. So it's another way of looking at the problem. These 3 problems are just another way of looking at that problem of multiplying by a unit fraction, understanding what we're doing here. All right. Can you see? All right, our last problem for concept development is a great problem, and you will see this type of problem over and over and over and over and over. So, Tien wants to cut a 1/4 foot length. So, what do you know? You know there are 4 1/4 in one whole, correct? Okay, so Tien wants to cut 1/4 foot lengths from a board that is 5 feet long. How many boards can he cut? Well, let's draw it out. Let's draw a tape diagram. So here's 1 foot, 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what do you know? How many fourths are in 1 foot? What do you know? What do you know? What do you know? Here is this 5. This is equal to 5 feet here. This is 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, 4 foot, 5 feet. So there are 4 fourths in each foot, right? So if I have 5 feet and I want to divide them into fourths, how many fourths will be in 5 feet? Well, we're going to flip our sign and multiply by the reciprocal, and we are going to get 20 boards. Now, 4 times 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 4, there are 4 fourths, and I'm going to do it 5 times, right? There are 4 fourths, and I'm in 1, so I need to multiply it by 5 to figure out how many are in 5, and that's 20 boards. All right, really quick, let's take a look at the problem set before we get started on that to walk through this together. It says, draw a tape diagram and a number line to solve. You may draw the model that makes the most sense to you. Fill in the blanks that follow. Use the example to help you. All right. Let's look at these two problems here. 2 divide into 1/3. So how many 1/3 are in 1? So there's 1, 2, 3 in 1. So 3 times what? 2 is 6, right? So there are 3/3 in 1 whole. So there are 6/3 in 2 wholes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see if we can come over here. So I have an unknown number up here, but it looks to me like it is 6 units long. If 2 is 1/3, so here is 1/3. So 1/3 and 1/3 and 1/3. What is the whole? Well, it's 6. It's 6 units long, and I know there's 2, 4, 6. There are going to be 2 units in each one. So there are, if 2 is 1/3, what is the whole? 6. How many thirds are in 1 whole here? There are 3/3, right? Yes. No, in 1 whole. Oh, 1 whole. We had 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. All right, now let's keep going. So now we have 4 divide halves. So if you have 4 units, and now you're going to take those 4 units one, 2, 3, 4. You have 4 units, and you're going to divide each of these units in half, right? How many halves will you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're going to have 8 halves. There are blank halves in 1 whole. There are 2 halves in 1 whole, right? In here, there are 1, 2. There are 2 halves in 1 whole. And so there are what? 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 halves in 4 holes. Does that make sense for you? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And here's a half, here's a half, here's a half, here's a half. All right. So if 4 is a half, what is the whole? So if 4 is half, what is the whole? The whole is going to be 8, right? So if I add a number line, 0, 4, 8, and if 4 is half, what is the whole? The whole is 8. All right, should we keep going? Let's do this one right here together. All right, 2 and 1/4. So 2 wholes divided into fourths. So I have 2 wholes. I have 2 wholes. 1, 2, right? And now I'm going to divide it into fourths. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if there are 4 in each whole, how many are there in 2? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, this is the same as 2 times 4 equals 8. Up here, this is the same as 4 times 2 equals 8. Up here, this is the same as 2 times 3 equals 6. All right, so let's keep going. So there are blank fourths in one hole. How many fourths are in one hole? There are 4. So if there are 4 fourths in one hole, how many fourths are in 2 holes? 8. All right. So if 2 is 1/4, what is the whole? If 2, here, let me draw a number line. If 2 is 1/4, what is the whole? 8 is the whole. All right. Let me go through and explain the rest. So you're going to do the same thing for C and D. Then on problem 2, there's plenty of practice here where you're going to do 5 and you're going to change your operation to the inverse operation all across here. It's the same format, not going to change. All right. Then for an art project, Mrs. Williams is dividing construction paper into fourths. How many fourths can she make from 5 pieces of construction paper? Draw out your construction paper if you need to and break it into fourths to see how many fourths you'll get. Use the chart below to answer the following questions. So here is the chart. How many hamburgers can Donnie make with 6 pounds of hamburger meat? So on this one, you are going to take that 6 pounds and divide it. How many hamburgers can Donnie make with 6 pounds of hamburger meat? So he needs 1/3 of a pound in order to make his hamburger. All right, so you're going to follow that same process all the way down to C. And then on number 5, 3 gallons of water fill 1/4 of the elephant's pail. So if 3 gallons of water fill 1/4 of the elephant's pail at the zoo, how much water is in the pail? So if 3 gallons, 1/4, what do we know? If 1/4 is equal to 3 gallons, how much is in the whole thing? All right, I think you can do this. It's very simple. I think you can do this and do really well. Come back when you have completed the problem set to check your work.